Hi there. Welcome to a session on the K-2 Numeracy Foundations Framework in the Richmond School District. My name is Janice Nowakowski, and I'm a district teacher consultant for the district in the areas of mathematics and numeracy from kindergarten through grade 12. As part of our district strategic plan, a K-12 numeracy framework has been developed in consultation and collaboration with stakeholders such as administrators, teachers, parents, and students. The framework addresses mathematics foundations and numeracy, two key elements of our curriculum here in British Columbia. The first grade-specific framework that was developed is the K-2 Numeracy Foundations framework. It took the elements of the K-12 framework, and we've developed specific resources to support kindergarten, grade 1 and 2 educators. The SD38 Early Numeracy Working Group was comprised of teachers appointed by the Richmond Teachers Association and administrators appointed by the Richmond Association of School Administrators. That working group collaborated with Learning Services staff to refine and develop the K-2 Numeracy Foundations framework. The framework contains elements around mathematics foundations on the left that connect to our provincial curriculum. And then on the right, as they are developed alongside mathematics and numeracy, are the blocks in the framework around numeracy specifically. In British Columbia, mathematics and numeracy are defined similarly but separately. So mathematics is the area of learning and involves content and competencies such as geometry and number concepts and operations, and competencies such as visualization and explaining your thinking, whereas numeracy is the application of mathematics to issues or problems or other areas of learning, or to the community, or a personal issue or investigation where you're using mathematics to think through and explore something else. So where you can find the Numeracy Foundations framework and the accompanying resources is on the portal. So you go to the portal, you go to the little waffle up in the top corner, you click on Learn 38, and then you'll find this tile here, the K-2 Numeracy Foundations tile. And then once you're on that page, you will see this framework on the left with the mathematics foundations on the left and the numeracy components on the right. And every block in that framework is clickable. So when you click on one of those blocks, when you're on the portal, it will lead you to resources to support your understanding of mathematics foundations and numeracy specific to kindergarten, grade 1 and grade 2. At the bottom of the framework, and you can see here this on this slide here, is another collection of tiles with more supporting resources. So there are year plans for each grade level, there's sample week plans, there's assessment tools, math games, suggested math materials for kindergarten to grade 2, etc. And those are all clickable and again lead you to new resources. Here's an example of some of the supporting materials from the framework. On the left, you see the number sense document. So when you click on the number sense block for K-2, you get a 2-page document that has links embedded into it to highlight key concepts and materials and instructional routines that you might use to develop number sense. You can see, some other clickable things in those pages. And on the right, an example of 2 of the pages for the numeracy components. So what are numeracy processes in K-2, and what are some examples of numeracy practices in K-2? We'll also be continually adding more samples of numeracy tasks, because that has been something that has been requested by teachers. So that connection between math foundations and numeracy tasks will continue to be developed on this particular page and within the framework. Some of the examples of the supporting materials from the tiles below the framework include the grade 1 overview. There's an example, there's one for kindergarten, grade 1 and grade 2. They have the learning standards on the left, and that is comprised of the content standards as well as the competency standards for mathematics. And then on the right is a numeracy connection for each term, and that connects to the content and competencies that are being developed. These year overviews are not mandated in our district, but they do provide guidance and provide coherence, across our schools and across classrooms. On the right, you see an example of a kindergarten week plan that is focusing on a concept like subitizing. So that's one of the key number concepts in kindergarten. And then there's a suggestion of 5 different types of lessons that students might engage with over a week to develop their understanding around subitizing. Mathematics in our district is expected about an hour a day, and then other opportunities for numeracy connections into other areas of learning and experiences as well. For those of you that teach combined classes, the sample week plans and the year overviews are meant to sort of go side by side. So for K1 and 1-2 and 2-3, the same content sort of thread continues from term 1 in both grades and term 2 in both grades and term 3 in both grades, so that lines up for you. So we're going to have a little quick flyover of where you can find everything on the portal. And this is the key tile that you need to look for. So I'm going to stop sharing my slides here. And I'm going to try and share my screen. So let's see if this all works. There we go. So I hope that you can see my screen there. And so when you go to the portal, you go on the top left-hand, here's that little array. We call it a waffle. So you can click on the waffle and then go to Learn 38. And then once you are at Learn 38, you scroll down, and these are all the most up-to-date tiles. You find K-2 Numeracy Foundations, and you click on that. And then you can see on this page, here's the framework. And then below are those extra tiles. So for example, you can click on Math Foundations, and it will explain what the math foundations are and what numeracy is. Let's do that as an example. So when I click on numeracy, it provides the definition of what numeracy is from the BC Ministry of Education. How can you use mathematics to understand yourself and the world around you? As a question to promote conversation around what numeracy is as opposed to mathematics. And then it shares the different elements that are part of the framework specific to numeracy. Let's go back here. Again, if I clicked on number sense, I've already shown you those examples. So maybe I'll click on computational fluency so that you can see what shows up. They do take a while to download or upload because there's a lot of photographs and visuals embedded in them. But you can see here, computational fluency, K-2. It explains what computational fluency is. It talks about what are the key concepts in developing computational fluency in kindergarten through grade 2, and with some suggested visuals and examples. It talks about things that you need to think about when you're designing for learning, pedagogical design, what's some things to consider specifically around computational fluency. Then again, links to example week plans, instructional routines that support computational fluency, and those are listed here. And then our YouTube channel has short videos explaining all of those with examples of how to use them between kindergarten and grade 9. And then the second page has the suggested materials for your classroom and school to support computational fluency development. And then a couple of instructional ideas. So using math stories and math games to develop computational fluency. And then assessment tools to assess computational fluency, which is one of the big ideas in K-9 mathematics. So the indicators of proficiency document, and all of these are clickable and will take you right to those documents and those assessment tools. So the computational fluency questions, which are K-7, and then the SD38 early numeracy assessment tool, which is for K-2. And has math questions as well as numeracy questions and a spatial reasoning question as well as some descriptors in terms of assessment. So that's what you find when you click on those blocks, is you get some more information. For example, when you go to the numeracy tasks one, it will explain to you what it means to be numerate, what numeracy tasks are, as opposed to open-ended math tasks or problem solving, and how they're a little bit different, the 4 types of numeracy tasks, and then some more examples of numeracy tasks. And again, we'll be linking to more of those as we develop more and find other sources for those. Okay. And then again, at the bottom, all sorts of information here to support your planning, your instruction, and your assessment. So for example, when you go to math materials, this lists a visual as well as the name of what we would suggest are the standard mathematics materials for kindergarten to grade 2 classrooms. And if they're not in your classroom, they should be available to you in your school. And then it has a little bit of ordering information at the bottom for some of the specific materials, and then some general ordering information as well. So all those tiles have information for you, supporting around core competencies in mathematics, professional learning opportunities, links to the YouTube channel here at the bottom, and then resources for families will be developed as well. So I'm going to stop sharing this piece now. So that's just a little flyover of our the portal and where you can find all these resources. And so as we leave today, I just want you to consider how we'll use this framework to support instructional design and assessment of student learning. Thank you for joining me.